Doing? This is in the case of white privilege news. So I got word that John Hinkley Jr. You remember him if you go back 41 years ago, the guy that wanted to turn Ronald Reagan's lights out permanently because he was on a crusade from watching Jodie Foster and Taxi Driver. You know, as sordid and as sick in the head John Hinckley was, etc. I'm so glad that this came to revelation because it didn't have nothing to do with hip hop, had nothing to do with rap music, had nothing to do with black culture. I watched Rob De Niro's Taxi Driver many times, but anyway, he took it personal. He thought he was Travis Blake. He thought he could save Jodie Foster, and he went to go after Reagan. He ended up Brady, who they passed that law, that gun law, got wounded, was paralyzed, and he died in 2014. But John Hinckley did not get attempted homicide or murder. He was plead insane. His daddy had a big bag. As a matter of fact, the week of the week that Reagan was shot by him, George Bush Sr., then vice president, was going to go have dinner with his father in Colorado. I remember that very vividly. But anyway, the white privilege is outrageous. So this cat had restrictions, but was living in Virginia at his mother's pad in Williamsburg. My grandparents are buried there, and I used to live in Hampton, so I remember Williamsburg real well. Have relatives there. Uh, got a cousin used to play in the NFL named Lawrence Taylor. So I met him back in '85. Anyway, Williamsburg has some old country to it. It's an interesting place. But anyway, um, his mother died. So the judge is gonna get him off of restrictions come the 15th of next month. Meanwhile, on these very YouTube social media streets, come to find out this jive turkey been making music and singing under a different. He was allowed by the federal. It gets stranger and stranger because when you think white privilege can't get more privileged, if that's such a word, it just did. I was reading this thing like, and he's talking about going on tour or performing, and his lawyer's talking about he's got talent, all this. I'm like, he's 67 now, and he did it, in the insane. I'm like, okay, and he was confined to his mama's pad in Virginia, who was quite wealthy, and I'm sitting there like, huh. This is white privilege cup overflow. Anyway, give me your thoughts and takes on this one because that's a name and a blast from the past that I hadn't really thought of too much. I remember what he was about, and the man, he said he apologized to Jodie Foster, all this. I'm like, this was one of the most craziest things I had ever heard in my life, then and now. But that's white privilege. Because I don't think if he was black and had done what he did trying to kill a president, and then he complete insane, but I don't, but the fanfare is just different. It really is. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts and comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. And just when you think it can't get more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, this one is a blast from the past. And I don't know quite how to take it, but that's how I read it. John Hinckley Jr. Out.